Hi, it's Kevin Thomas Morgan here again. I want to explain to you Chapter 10 of my Peripheral Artery Disease training plan for athletes to amputees, where I describe how to assess your progress with your training. And there are a number of ways to do this. You can monitor the color of your feet. Pink is good, blue is possibly bad, and black is really bad, may indicate gangrene. You can check your dorsal pedal pulse by pressing on the top of your foot and finding that artery. My dorsal pedal pulse is non-existent due to complete blockage of my popliteal artery on my right leg, and it's getting pretty bad on the left. You can watch capillary refill rate, so you press on your big toe or your little toe, whichever one, and it goes kind of white, and then you take your finger off and you wait to see how long the color returns, and if it's healthy it's less than 5 seconds. You can have an ankle brachial index or ABI test in a vascular lab, which is a hassle and costs money or insurance, but that's the way mine was originally diagnosed back in 2015 in the local vascular lab. You can record your symptoms, claudication, calf pain when you walk or run, or numb feet is another one of my symptoms if I stress the blood supply to my feet. And you can watch foot function. If you find your feet slapping the ground, it means that the blood supply is inadequate for normal foot biomechanics, and so you need to back off, maybe have a recovery period and then start again. Or finally, my favorite method for accuracy is the use of an O2 sats meter, which I'm going to show you now. Well, thanks to COVID-19 a few years ago, very cheap pulse oximetry meters became available on the market. They're this little guy here. It allows you to measure your oxygen tension. It's a pulse oximeter, or I call it an O2 sats meter. It measures your pulse, but most importantly, it measures the oxygen tension in your toes. So the measurement needs to be at least 95%, between 95 and 100, but anything over 95 is good. If it gets below 95, then you have to think, maybe I'm not getting enough oxygen to my toes. Well, you can test it on your finger first, like this, as you can see on my index finger. Regular pulse and a nice oxygen tension. Anyway, the problem with these oximeters is they're designed for fingers, not for toes. You have to put your finger in there and reach to the end, and it will pick up a signal. You just turn the power on, and it will pick up a signal, and it will record your pulse, as you can see, and it will record your oxygen tension, in this case 96%. My pulse is 71 because I've been moving around. So that's great. The problem is these oximeters have a detector, and unlike the one I had before, which I've lost, it's way down there and it's very hard to get your toe in there. But the trick is you have to put your toe in there in place of your finger. It takes a bit of messing around. So in order to put it on your toe, it is quite tricky. You have to get it a long way down, and you have to find an O2 sats meter that works well for your toes. So I made a bunch of different recordings, and eventually I managed to work it out. And here we go. I can show you my oxygen tension and, of course, pulse rate in my big toe. And then in my middle toe. And then in my little toe on my right foot. And that little toe is the one that is at most risk of low oxygen tension, ischemia, and eventually loss. I fight this by using the remote blood pumping station technique, which is described elsewhere in the book and also on my videos. So that is basically how you use a pulse oximeter or O2 sats meter to assess your progress. And if you're doing well, you should find that that percentage of oxygen tension slowly improves, which it did in my case. Oh yes, always forget something. I was looking around on PubMed for scientific articles the other day on the use of pulse oximeters for PAD assessment, and I came across a paper, and here it is. Pulse oximetry as a screening test for hemodynamically significant lower extremity peripheral artery disease in adults with type 2 diabetes mellitus. Of course, people with diabetes are at much greater risk of peripheral limb ischemia. Anyway, the result of this paper was that they found pulse oximetry or O2 sats meters to be a more sensitive measure than the ABI test, which isn't surprising really, because the ABI assesses your blood pressure at your ankle, and this test with the meter goes directly to your toes, where the real risk lies, because the first thing you lose with PAD is your toes. Okay, so that was a very interesting confirmation of the value of the O2 sats meter. Okay, so that's it. Remember all the different methods for assessing progress, and you will find it very encouraging when you see improvements in these various measures. Okay, that's it. Over and out from Kevin Thomas Morgan, aka Fiddle Dog, who continues to fight peripheral artery disease or PAD and trying to get back on the Ironman course. Okay, that's it. Over and out.